Hey everybody, it's Joe here with Trekkie Bricks and my friend Matt, who has this amazing building behind us, and I'm at a loss for words because this thing, with the way you've done the front here with these pieces, every single one of these floors has something unique in it. As you can tell, we've got the lights going differently. So I want to know, first of all, where the idea came from for this.
Okay, so happy to be here with you, Joe. Excited to do this, talk to you a little bit about it. But you know, I really wanted to build. I've wanted to build a Lego apartment building for a long time, and you know, just trying to acquire pieces and feel like I have enough to even get started was a challenge. So that was kind of the first step. But then when I decided to go all in and build an apartment building, I spent a lot of time just kind of feeling it out, and I would build a floor and then look at the windows and see how I wanted the spacing and try to figure out what looked better, and you know, how do I do the back, how do I do the sides, what do I want, and so I ended up building it once all the way, you know, all the way up, and decided, oh, the layout is finally where I want it. And then at that point it was like, okay, rip it all back down to the ground, get on BrickLink, order all the pieces that I need, and then build it all back up again. And then after I had done that, I decided that the middle section here was very, very bland. You know, with the blue brick, it just, and the red brick even all the way across, it just looked too much the same. Big wall problems, right? And so I decided I wanted to build something else into it. I wanted to make it a little bit different. And so I was looking around on Instagram and saw you know, different rock techniques, and I thought, hey, I bet I could build a rock technique into the side of this building like you see in some of the facades, and make it an architectural feature. And so then that's when I decided to add the strip up the middle, and unfortunately what that meant was more brick leaking and more ripping the building down again and building it up again so that I could incorporate that feature.
So this is version 3.
Three or so. And then after I had gotten that all done, I decided, okay, now I want to start adding some lights and some different features inside so that you can see it, so it's not just a stagnant building. I wanted the lights to flash on and off so that it would kind of draw the eye and have people go, oh wow, that's lighting up. And then you could, with the lights, you'd look a little bit closer and say, oh, there's details inside of each of these rooms that I can look at. And so yeah, rebuild 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever number we're up to was tearing it all back down to the ground and then building each of these rooms inside of it. And so what I would do is I would, each of these rooms is about an 8x8 or a 10x10 square, and then I just pack as many details and snot and, you know, fun building techniques in it as I could as I went all the way up the building. And with each layer, they kind of would stack on top of each other to kind of hold each other up. So the rooms inside are not always attached to the building itself. They're really just attached to the floor underneath it, forming a tower.
Make it easier to work on it then too, also?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And then, you know, just building the lights as well, and figuring out how to do the lighting and learning how to do the lighting. That was a whole another portion, but that was a lot of fun to incorporate a lot of these small details that you don't usually get to incorporate in a big build. So merging the two was important to me, and I'm happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it looks stinking amazing. So
well, thank you.
That's the understatement here. I want to touch on the lights in just a second. And does the name of the building hold significance?
No, not really. I mean, you know, as you can tell, the names, the lettering came from the typewriter, and I don't own the set, but I really liked the tiles, and I've always really liked the idea of having the Lego lettering, and so I wanted to do brick because it's, you know, everything in Lego is brick, and I thought about brick place, I thought about brick square. I just didn't know what to do, and ended up ordering the pieces for brick place and went with it. So.
Okay. That's awesome. And let's actually step around back. You were showing me earlier about some of your lighting techniques, and so if you don't mind sharing your secrets.
Okay, I've actually got it right. Oh, no, maybe it's back here.
We're on the back side now, and this looks like a wonderful piece of pie right here.
That's right.
So that is running all of this amazing electronics in here. What were some of the struggles in getting that to function as you wanted it to.
So really the struggle with all lighting in general is just the learning curve and trying to figure out how to get what's up here in your mind to portray and to display on your build. And you know, there's a million different ways to do lighting, and so years previously I bought kits from online Lego retailers and just kind of built using those components. But when I went to kind of build that same kind of thing into this building, it kind of got cost prohibitive. It ended up being like $120 or $150 to put the lighting in, and I thought, no, I'd rather spend that money on Lego and not on lighting components. And so I decided to go to the trusty old Amazon, and I found these. I built these little light pigtails. And so what I did is I got on Amazon and ordered strip lighting, and it's about $10 for 12 feet of strip lighting, and then you can cut it down. So I just cut it into a piece that has two lights on it, and then I soldered my wire onto the ends of the strip lighting, pulled the adhesive backing off, and just stuck it to a Lego brick, and so that way I could stick it up into the ceiling and have the lights downlighting into each of the rooms. And then with this pigtail, I just ran I used wire nuts to extend the pigtail down into a breadboard that's in the bottom of the building here.
Fed off the ribbon cable into a breadboard.
I can probably pull this out. So here's all of the bottom of the extension pieces going into my breadboard. And as I learned, I did not know, we've got the red cable is the powered ones that need to go into the pin on the Raspberry Pi. The black ones need to go into a ground. Luckily on the Raspberry Pi there are plenty of those kinds of pins. And so the breadboard hooks up into this ribbon, and then the ribbon attaches to the GPIO pins on the Raspberry Pi. So that's how I did it. I chose LED strip lighting that ran on the same voltage as the Raspberry Pi, and it's got resistors built in to the LED strip, and so didn't have to fight with some of those issues that we, I don't know. Sometimes those conversions are hard things, especially when you're new.
Now, do you recall what the voltage is coming off the Pi?
I think it's 5 volts.
5 volts? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 5 volts, but I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a Raspberry Pi expert. So.
Well, you look like you're an expert to me with the amazing lighting that you've got on here. And I remember you telling me that you had to learn the programming language for it. Now, was that terribly difficult, or for this kind of project, is it something that somebody could pick up on fairly easy?
You know, I learned it in about a month. You know, my kids got this Raspberry Pi for Christmas a few years ago and just never used it. They never learned how to use it. And so I set it up, and I downloaded the program, and then it just sat there. And so I decided to pick it up and use it for this lighting program. And I first learned how to do Scratch, which is what all the kids learn in elementary school, and my kids were the ones that kind of taught me how to use it. And then I took the next step and learned Python. Okay. And the Raspberry Pi was preloaded with all the software that you would need. And the Raspberry Pi community is phenomenal. They've got so many different places to start, and so I just found a program that would turn the lights on and off, and then I just added, loops and counters and different basic computer programming features to randomize the lighting so that the way that I set it up is they're on for a random time between 1 and 30 seconds, and then they're off for a random time between 1 and 30 seconds. And then it just loops and repeats that cycle. So that's kind of how I set the lighting up, and it was easier than I expected it to be, although it did take a lot of legwork and learning how to do it and figuring it out.
That makes sense. Now this doesn't look like an official Lego mouse. So anybody that is looking to use one of these in a project, they're expecting to bring something to view this off of, the HDMI cable, etc. Like I think I have to bring a computer monitor. Like just kind of a informational for someone that is looking to do this and bring it to a convention.
Yeah, and there's more learning that I'd like to do. I am fairly certain that a Raspberry Pi expert could figure out how to sync the Bluetooth that comes with the Raspberry Pi up to your phone and be able to run it off your phone without all these gadgets. I didn't have the time or the stamina, I'll call it, to figure out to take that next step. But that's something that I'd like to figure out how to do and like to learn how to do so that I don't have to bring the mouse and the keyboard and everything. So I can just use what's in my pocket all the time.
Right, and I'm sure you can set up something, a boot script in Linux to be able to kick off the script and whatnot.
Yep,
So, yeah.
and I don't understand what boot scripts are, but I read a little bit about them enough to know that that's exactly kind of what you're looking for.
Okay, yeah, I mess with Linux, and I've got I have an older Pi at home that I mess with a little bit. So even I'm not quite that far yet with all the lighting stuff I've done. So this is very impressive to me, and I'm glad that you are taking your time to share everything with us. And I can hope to build a building like this one day. So thank you.
No problem. Happy to share with you and everybody else.